You're on this video because you want to find a cool and fun indie co-op game that you can try with your friends. So I'm going to get straight into the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more game reviews. Let's get straight into it. As a FYI, I'm going to try to keep this video under 5 minutes so you spend more time checking out these games rather than me speaking for 5 minutes per game. My first recommendation is to check out Necessity. Necessity is a really cool combination of RimWorld, Terraria, and Stardew Valley into one top-down level game. From farming to sim management to dungeon crawling with bosses, this game is perfect for any player. It really offers a ton of things you can do, and because it's procedurally generated like Minecraft, this game is fun for anyone that loves exploring an endless world and uncovering new weapons and armor. It has some RPG elements that are incorporated through the armor and weapons in the game. So in my opinion, the game does have a great progression system. Definitely one to check out right now. It's definitely kind of tickles a bit of anyone's type of taste, because you know every friend has a bit of different taste in terms of what game they want to play. Definitely check this one out. The only con I would say are the graphics, but if you can get over the graphics, it's a really great one to play. My next recommendation is Vegante. Now, Vegante is a roguelike co-op game. You go through each dungeon. It's all procedurally generated as, you know, a roguelike would be. But each level there's a boss, you have to pass a boss, and you have to get through each biome, get to the next biome, etc., until you reach the final boss. It's really fun to play with, I'd say, 1 to 2 friends. You can play with obviously 3, but because armor and weapons get shared, you become much more weaker than you would if you were playing a solo game or 2 people. So I recommend playing, the sweet spot is around 1 to 2 friends. Now, in my opinion, this is a super underrated game. It has really beautiful graphics. It's super beautiful pixel graphics if you're into that stuff. But the bosses get really hard, especially because they scale with the more people you have. So in my opinion, it definitely makes for a pretty fun element. If you play Splunky, it's kind of like that, but mixed with more of a fantasy element. But definitely go check Vegante out. My third recommendation is another roguelike called Gunfire Reborn, but it is an FPS one. So I'm trying to mix, as you can see, mix these games up. Now, the really cool thing about Gunfire is it reminds me of what Borderlands could be if it was a roguelike, as well as if it's basically a dungeon where you go through each level versus, you know, a open world. Now, it's a super fun game. The really cool thing about Gunfire Reborn is the amount of replayability you can get. I have around maybe 200 hours of the game. I have friends with up to 300, 400 hours of this game. It's insane because of how much replayability. And that's because although there's different maps and, you know, some different bosses, it's the different builds you can try in the game. There's so many different types of weapons, different types of guns, kunais. Like if you love Borderlands because of different guns, you can try different builds. This is the reason why you should try Gunfire Reborn. So definitely check it out. Definitely, once again, it's a co-op game. And yeah, I would try this out. Check it out as well. My next recommendation is Keplerth. Now, Keplerth kind of reminds me of Necessity, combined with a bit more of a sci-fi element instead of a fantasy element. It's a 2D sandbox RPG. The only con immediately I'm going to point out is the movement it feels a bit wonky in the beginning, but you'll get used to it. But basically, you have to fight bosses, creatures, and basically survive and build stuff. It's definitely a really fun game. Doesn't actually have a specific play limit compared to the other games where 4 is the max players you can play with. This one, like, they didn't even say it, but I'm assuming you can play up to 1 to 8 with this as normal. But if you like a bit of sci-fi in your indie games, this one might be one for you. Now, my final recommendation is Core Keeper. Now, Core Keeper is such an awesome game. It is a survival sandbox game. It is very similar to Necessity. It is still in early access, but it pretty much kind of reminds me if you combine Minecraft and Terraria with a bit more Stardew Valley, you could say. Less sim management, a lot more exploration. Definitely a really fun game, lots of mining and stuff. So it reminds me of honestly Minecraft, Terraria. But this one, the really cool thing about it is you can play up to with 8 players. So if you have more than 3 or 4 friends, then you can obviously play with them with this game. Definitely a really fun game. Definitely one to check out. But as I mentioned, it is still early access, but something you should definitely check out. And that's it. Hopefully you found one game, hopefully 2, that you can play with your friends. Don't forget, as I mentioned, to leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to try to make many more of these videos because I play tons of indie co-op games and I want to give some recommendations to others. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video.